Illinois, and I'm looking forward to having a really good one myself. So I'm glad you're joining me. I'm Rita Hickman. I help women in narcissistic relationships, and I especially help women who feel completely fractured by the person they present to the world versus the person that lives at home. You know, there's a fallacy in the world. There's a lie that we're told in the world that women who are in uh, narcissistic types of relationships, that somehow they're weak, that somehow they're damaged, somehow they're broken, and that they have no value. That's actually kind of a common theme. You know, when I was a kid, I had some trauma, and uh, I didn't tell anybody. And the reason I didn't tell anybody about my trauma was because it was the type of thing, you know, child abuse, sex abuse, you know, that sort of thing. It was the type of thing that you didn't want to tell anybody about because you didn't want anybody to think that you were broken. So I spent a big portion of my life hiding things from people, all of my internal world and my fears and my anxieties, hiding that from people because I didn't want them to know that I thought I was broken. And that's true for a lot of women. A lot of women have learned how to follow the rules. They've learned how to get along. They've learned how to make do, make the best of things, make lemonade out of lemons, how to endure. You know, women's power, women's strength is, you know, it's pretty amazing what we can do and what we accomplish by putting our minds to it. Just look around at the amazing things that women have been able to do. And we think because we've reached positions of power or positions of success that somehow it means that everything is perfect. You know, I was told for the longest time if I just get the right job, if I just marry the right person, if I just do study the right thing at college, if I just get to know the right people, that magically my life would turn out. And it did. You know, I gained a lot of success in a lot of areas because I knew how to follow the rules. I knew how to work hard. I knew how to show up to class. I knew how to turn in my assignments. I knew how to get things done. And that allowed me to really gain some success in life. But every day I woke up for decades and I felt sick every single morning. At about 4 or 5 a.m., my stomach would clench and the day would be off to a rough start. Many times I wouldn't feel better until noon. You know, it would take all morning until my body could shift. In the meantime, I felt miserable. Oh my gosh, I felt so miserable. I was angry and I was scared and my stomach was knotted up and I couldn't eat and my digestion was bad and it wasn't a good way to live. So on the outside, somehow I was able to keep all the balls juggled, all the things that I needed to do. But in the inside, I was stressed out almost all the time. And I felt like I was falling apart because my body just couldn't repair itself. It just couldn't fix itself. I even went to, you know, a couple doctors and said, "Hey, I've got this problem." And they said, "Well, you just need to work harder at your relationships." Oh, okay, thanks. Or I'd say, you know, I'm struggling with IBS. I'm struggling with digestive issues. I'm struggling with, you know, inflammation and joint problems. And they'd look at me and they'd say, "Well, you just need some medication." You know, so I dove into shamanism and Asian medicine and energy healing and essential oils, and I dove into all of that stuff, and I did it, and none of it really worked. It worked a little bit, but there were a few key pieces that were missing. You know, when we try to adopt other people's traditions or other people's belief systems, what happens is they aren't really our own. So we can be successful on the outside, but on the inside be having a miserable life. So in your job, you may be the CEO. You may have your own practice. Maybe you think outside the box because you always have. Maybe you're empathic, so you're able to sense what's going on. And on the outside, you're the one that everybody comes to. You're the one that people look to as a leader, possibly because in your life, you always knew how to push through, how to make the best of things, how to deal with internal drama and trauma and stress and how to lock everything down, how to disassociate, how to people please, how to just put your head down and keep working. You figured out how to make it work for you. But after a while, things don't work inside you anymore. Your body starts to fall apart. Your relationships start to fall apart. You get tired of having relationships with people who are selfish. You get tired of having friends who don't appreciate you. You get tired of feeling like a fraud because on the outside you look great and on the inside you're a mess, looking for people who can help or give you solutions or answers. That's common. So in reality, many successful women who are queens in their career are actually struggling in other areas of their life. They struggle with their relationships or they struggle with their health, and it's very hard. The latest trauma science has been showing that the key to healing from trauma is learning how to flip our nervous system from fight or flight back into our frontal lobe, back into our rational thinking. And when we do that, when we start to do that regularly, when we start to do that consistently, when we do it first, when it's the thing we do as soon as we don't feel good, when it's the thing we do as soon as we have negative thinking in our head, when we do that, what happens is the trauma starts to leave our body. Because trauma doesn't just leave memories, it leaves body memories. And that's why you don't feel good inside. Not because you're broken, but because you're still carrying around, your body is still carrying around the traumas that you got earlier in life. Now, a trauma can be a movie that you saw at the wrong time when you were a kid. A trauma is something that happened unexpectedly, you felt helpless about, and you didn't have anyone to help you process through. And when that happens, it leaves markers in our brain, and it leaves stress chemicals in our body, cortisol, adrenaline, and little bookmarks. And then every time you go home and someone lifts an eyebrow or scowls or has some dramatic blow up, inside of you, your body reacts, just as if you were right in the middle of the trauma again. Now, in the past, maybe you just powered through. Maybe you just dealt with the consequences. Maybe you just ignored them or took more medication or went to the doctor like I did or dove into all sorts of alternative medicines. And you still find yourself triggering. You still find yourself walking into a war zone, even if you got divorced, because you may have toxic people and narcissistic people in your life. You probably do. And they're still able to pull your strings just like you're a puppet. Because very selfish people will find the things that will push your buttons because they want to get the upper hand. And so now you're in a relationship or at home with someone who's looking to push your buttons in order to make themselves feel better. And you go from successful, loved, respected to a loser who's a failure, who only got success in her life because other people took pity on her or because she got lucky. It wasn't because of all the work and study and suffering that she put in. You know, and that's a very big break in our psyches from trying to go from top of the world to down in the gutters. And that's why you end up feeling kind of crazy. That's why you end up feeling as if things aren't quite working for you. That's why you end up triggering in so many ways. Because you've got these chemicals in your body that keeps you reacting in your personal life. And until we start to get them off of your system by knowing how to use all those great shamanic tools, all those great energy healing tools, Reiki and hands-on healing and body talk, and when you start to learn how to use all that stuff that you've been studying, plant medicines and meditation, in order to feel better, you learn how to use them. Because those are wonderful tools, but we're not taught how to use them or when to use them. And when you start to learn that, it starts to shift. Because now you're using your tools intelligently. Now you're using them effectively. And you're able to go from feeling out of control or off balance back to balance, usually within 60 to 90 seconds. It doesn't take long at all. And when you start making that a practice of learning how to flip your nervous system focusing on keeping your nervous system balanced, doing things that keep you in a good place. You start to get those healthy habits in place, then you change. And when you change, your relationships change. And either they shape up or they go away because you finally have the confidence to stand up to all those bullies and all that trauma that you had when you were younger. And when you start to stand up to the bullies, that's when the bullies stop being bullies. And many times they're actually good people. They're the people that you fell in love with. They're the people that you really liked as a friend. They're the people that made you light up. You just didn't realize that they also struggled with other sorts of mental health issues and you didn't know what to do about it. So when you start to stand up to the bullies in your life because you're no longer feeling crazy, you're no longer feeling hijacked by the past, all your relationships change. And the people who want to keep things the same, they just can't. They either have to find someone else to play that role for them, or they realize that they want a peaceful, happy life too. And that happens more often than you think. More often than you think. When you start to become the evolved, centered, grounded, intelligent, intuitive woman that you are, your relationships change. Even the ones that you thought would never change. Even the ones that you thought were hopeless. Even the ones that you were ready to get rid of. Even the ones that you were halfway walking out the door from a divorce. I'm not saying you can save your relationship, but what I am saying is you can learn how to have a healthy relationship. And you can help the people that you love have better relationships too. You don't have to just write people off. I know as an empath, as a compassionate person, you don't want to write anybody off. That's not who you are. You don't want to say somebody's a loser or a failure. You know exactly what that feels like. You don't want to do it to anybody else. And you don't have to. Because when you start learning how to get yourself out of your trauma, how to get the trauma off of your system, when to use all those great tools that you've been learning over the years, how to use them in the right way, in the right timing, how to pick the right tools, so for the right job, whatever the stressor is, everything changes because your body changes. You're physically changing your body. And when your body changes and it doesn't trigger anymore, you're able to be that woman. You're able to be the same woman on the outside at work, that queen, and be that same woman when you come home. You're able to come home to a peaceful house. You're able to come home where there isn't drama. You're able to be in a space where you feel respected and loved. Now you're in a relationship, possibly divorced, or they're still there, or maybe it's your child or your mother or your brother or something like that. And you're still in this relationship. There's hope. And the hope comes that when you become that person that you're meant to be, because you get all that trauma out of your way, you get all that trauma off of your system, life gets really great. Because now you're able to bring your gifts, your intuitive, empathic, loving, grounded, smart, innovative gifts to the world. But you have to get the trauma off your system first. There's a lot of ways to do it, and mainly you just need to learn how and get the support to put it into place and the love and the vision and the foresight to get you there, okay? And we will. I have plenty of women over the 14 years that I've been doing this, including myself. It's not something that you learn per se. It's just a habit you put into place. And when you put these habits into place, your life will change, your relationships will change, everything will get better, and you will become even more successful. This is like the next level of your life, okay? The first level was everything before now. And the next chapter is where you walk into a new world without all sorts of crazy stuff going on, without all sorts of drama, without all sorts of narcissists pushing your buttons. And you have a healthy, happy home with healthy, happy people and healthy, happy relationships. Because the ones that are ready for that, they'll step into it and they'll step up, even if it takes a little bit of time. And the ones who aren't ready for it, they'll go away. And you'll realize that Now there's space for someone who can support you, who can nourish you, who can be there with you, because we're not meant to do this alone. None of us are. Even though it feels like it, you're not meant to do all this internal work by yourself. You're meant to have love and community and friendship. And that's what we can give you, okay? So keep watching these live streams, like them, share them, get the word out, because there's tools we can do, and start looking forward to. I'm going to be doing a 7-day challenge and then a program in January. And the 7-day challenge is going to be between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it's to help you get ready to have a warm, wonderful, loving home at Christmas, so that you can finally not have a holiday ruined, like every holiday's been ruined, probably. Have people get along, even if family members and people that you don't necessarily want there show up, but you know that they need to be there because they're family. You don't have to write people off. We're going to do a challenge where you can create a healthy, warm, loving home for yourself and for other people. So keep an eye out for that, because you don't have to live in crisis, even if you live with a narcissist. So, okay, in 10 minutes, at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be with Julie Murphy, Awaken Your Relationships. It's going to be a lot of fun. So type in Awaken Your Relationships in the Facebook bar and see if you can find us, because her and I have a lot of fun. Julie's a wealth management coach, and I'm the relationship chick, and we're able to really bring out some beautiful wisdom and insight and tools to help get your money on track, help get your relationships on track, because it's about getting you on track. It's about you loving and respecting you. And we're going to teach you how to do that and show you the way. All right, so even if you're successful, powerful, you move mountains, you're not broken. We can help you fix yourself. All right, have a great rest of your day.